The world in 2001 was moving at a breakneck speed, fueled by noise and neon. But inside a secluded sanctuary in Woodside, California, time had not just slowed down, it had completely stopped. There sat Koko, the most famous gorilla in history, a creature of immense strength and even greater emotional intelligence. But Koko was drowning. A few months prior, she had lost Michael, her lifelong companion and fellow gorilla. For nearly half a year, the sanctuary was shrouded in a heavy, suffocating silence. Koko, usually vibrant and communicative, had retreated into the shadows. She wouldn't play. She wouldn't use her signs. She simply sat with her massive shoulders hunched, staring into a distance that no human could see. Her grief was a physical weight, a fog that wouldn't lift. Her caretakers were desperate. They knew that if Koko didn't find a reason to connect again, her spirit might simply fade away. And then the loud world came knocking. Robin Williams didn't just walk into the room. He arrived like a force of nature. He was a man made of 1,000 voices, a kinetic explosion of energy who was rarely seen without a smile or a joke. The public expected a spectacle, the funny man performing for the ape. But as Robin stepped across the threshold of Koko's enclosure, something unexpected happened. The air became thick with a strange, heavy tension. Robin, the man who couldn't stop talking, suddenly became deathly still. He looked at this 300-pound giant, and for the first time in his life, the hurricane of humor vanished. He didn't see an animal. He saw a reflection of a sorrow he knew all too well. The footage that eventually reached the public was heartwarming and beautiful. We saw the clips of Robin and Koko tickling each other, trying on each other's glasses, and sharing genuine laughter. For the world, it was a moment of healing. The first time Koko had smiled in 6 months, but the cameras only stayed for an hour. They captured the performance, but they missed the prayer. When the lights were finally packed away and the crews retreated into the California twilight, Robin stayed behind. In the soft, amber glow of the enclosure, the happy clown finally let the mask slip. He sat on the floor, inches away from Koko, and let out a long, heavy sigh that seemed to carry the weight of decades. Robin reached out, his small human hand trembling ever so slightly, and placed it inside Koko's massive leathery palm. In that private hour, the jokes were gone. Robin didn't hide behind a character or an accent. He sat in the raw vulnerability of his own insecurities. Koko, with her ancient eyes, studied him. She traced the lines on his face, the deep wrinkles of a man who worked tirelessly to keep the world from sitting in the dark. She felt the racing heart beneath his chest, a heart that was often terrified of its own silence. Koko raised her hand and signed a question that wasn't meant for any documentary. Sad. Robin didn't lie to her. He leaned in and whispered, his voice cracking, "Yes, Koko. Sometimes it's very hard to be the one everyone expects to be magic. Sometimes I feel like I'm disappearing." In that moment, a human and a gorilla bridged a gap that language couldn't cross. They were just two lonely souls, standing guard over each other's futures. Years turned into a decade. Robin returned to the blinding lights of Hollywood, to the red carpets and the standing ovations. Koko remained in her sanctuary, a quiet queen in a world of leaves and signs. They didn't see each other often, but the thread between them remained taut. Caretakers noticed that whenever Robin's face appeared on a screen, Koko would freeze. She would touch the glass with a gentleness she reserved only for him and sign the word, friend. Then came the dark Monday in August 2014. The news of Robin's passing hit the world like a tidal wave of disbelief and grief. The man who had spent his life fighting the darkness had finally been consumed by it. In the sanctuary, the air felt heavy once again. Koko's lead caretaker approached her with a heavy heart. She knew she had to tell her. With shaking hands, the caretaker signed, "Our friend, Robin, he is gone." Koko didn't move. She didn't let out a sound. She sat by the window for hours, staring out at the trees as if waiting for a familiar voice to call out from the fog. Then she turned to the caretaker and made 2 signs. First, she placed her hand over her heart and signed, "Cry." Then she mimicked a gesture Robin had made during their secret hour years ago, a small personal sign for home. She understood. In the deep, instinctive way that only she could, Koko knew that her friend had finally laid down his shield. He was no longer the loudest man in the room. He had finally found the peace he had been trying to give everyone else. Robin Williams once said that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. He spent his life being the frontline soldier in those battles for the rest of us. He was the loudest guardian, a man who protected the fragile geniuses among us, whether they were 18-year-old actors, terrified of failing, or a 300-pound gorilla, mourning a lost love. His relationship with Koko wasn't just a celebrity meeting an animal. It was a testament to the fact that empathy has no species. It showed us that kindness is never wasted, even if it's whispered to someone who can't speak back. Robin gave Koko her smile back, and in return, Koko gave Robin the one thing the rest of the world couldn't, a moment where he didn't have to be a character. She was the only one who didn't see the mask. Robin and Koko are both gone now, their physical voices silenced, but the sanctuary they built between each other still exists in every act of quiet kindness we see. They remind us that even when we feel invisible, there is always a soul, perhaps one we haven't even met yet, standing guard over our future. Robin left the world with endless laughter, but he trusted his purest, most vulnerable self to the silence of a gorilla. He was a once-in-a-lifetime magic, a man who gave away all his light so that we wouldn't have to sit in the dark. If you believe that a soul is measured by the light it leaves behind, and if you want to help us honor the profound legacies of legends like Robin, please follow our channel. Let's keep the dawn coming for those who are still waiting in the rain. Goodbye, Robin. Goodbye, Koko. The silence is finally beautifully peaceful.